talking about that. Okay. Guys, hi and welcome back to another video. So today I am going to be taking you along, and it's not even going to be today, this week, I'm going to be taking you along for the traumatic roller coaster that is going to be me doing my final essays for my master's degree. If you're new here, then I'm doing my master's degree at King's College London in medical ethics and law. It's more fun than it sounds, but this week will not be an accurate representation of that. Basically, I've done one essay so far. I've got 2 more to go. They're all 3,500 words. And I've got 2 law essays and 1 ethics. I've done one of the law ones. So basically this is going to be the law one. So the essay that I'm doing at the moment, I've literally just started. I've like looked at what the law is on it and then broke down the question, and that's like it. Like I haven't even gathered sources or anything yet. And the question is, let me find it, I'll read it to you. The law under the Abortion Act of 1967, as amended by the Human Fertilisation and Embryology Act of 1990, establishes a justifiable balance between the interests of the pregnant woman and the fetus. Critically analyse. So I'm basically wanting to look at like what the law is under the Abortion Act, which is thankfully one of the smallest statutes that exist, and then like how does it impact the woman's rights, how does it impact the fetus's rights, how do they balance. Like I think my instant reaction is that the woman's rights are protected more than the fetus's, because the way the law is like worded is like obviously a woman can get an abortion for a multitude of different reasons, and although under the act at present they're like, oh, if there's medical reasons or it was to save the woman's life or whatever, then that's justifiable to like have an abortion. In practice, people get abortions for way less serious reasons than that, which therefore isn't really protecting the fetus, it's protecting the woman. That's my instant argument on this on this thing, but we'll see like when I do more of the research. And yeah, so today I want to look up the law, which will consist of me looking at the explanatory notes, the code of practice, the guidance, any Hansard, any cases. I think that's today, and then tomorrow I just want to look at journal articles, which is where the bulk of it is going to be for the critically analysed. Day after, look at that, and then write it for 2 days after that. So I'm thinking 4 or 5 days. I want this done by Monday though, and it's Thursday, so I don't think we have 4 or 5 days. Hence, that's why I've got Beethoven on. I'm trying to channel. Also, breakfast is happening. Brioche and peanut butter. Coffee, juice, even though it's like 11. Okay, so it's dinner time. I have done pittas, sriracha sauce because I clearly like hot sauce, tofu with a chili and peri-peri seasoning, red bell pepper, chili and white onion. Okay, so it's day 2 of me trying to, well, probably day 5 of me actually trying to do this essay. Yesterday, I ended up reading like 6 sources, which is nowhere near like what I needed to have done. Like I needed to, I think I've done like 12, but like it was all of the law heavy stuff. So like reading the statute, reading the guidance, reading like reports from the government, parliamentary reports, looking at Hansard, all of that fun stuff. So that all that drains me. Whereas today I need to read all of the actual journals that are discussing the law, because I feel like I've got a grasp now of like, okay, this is what the Abortion Act is saying, and this is how women can use the Abortion Act to like, will get an abortion, and under what circumstances, and also in what circumstances you can't, and therefore that reflects how the fetus and the woman, their interests can be protected by the Act. So I feel like I've got that understanding down, but what I want to now look at is what people are saying about that Act. But it's like proving to be a lot of effort, because I feel like you guys probably know who do essays, like sometimes you go on Google Scholar and you type in your keywords and loads of stuff comes up, and the last essay that I did was completely like that, and the next essay that I'm going to do is completely like that. Whereas this one, I'm like, I don't really know what words to type in. I'm like, Abortion Act, women interest, fetal interest, UK, like nothing's really coming up. So I'm just sort of like having to sift through stuff and hope for the best. That's what I'm gonna do today as I'm having breakfast and stuff. Okay, so there is all the sources. Someone told me why I've got over 20 sources and 6 of them are by my lecturer. I don't even want to read them because if I have to reference them and she's going to read my essay, she's going to be like, either that's not what I wrote, that's an interesting interpretation, or she's going to critique my critique of her. Oh, it's the stress when your lecturer is like the sole authority on an area of law. Pressure's on, man, pressure's on. I have read 7 articles and about half of one was useful. I don't know what it is about this area, but like I can't find any journals on it. Sometimes you hit like jackpot, you get gold, and like all the journals you read, you're like, yes, 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 and you can just like use bits from them all. There's literally nothing really in the literature that explicitly is talking about my essay question. I'm almost like debating changing essay question because it's just difficult, like there's nothing out there. So yeah, I'm struggling a little bit. The fact that I read in total now probably over 15 sources and I've got like 2 pages of research. By now I'd at least have like 5 or 6 pages, so I'm struggling that I'm not going to have enough things to reference and I'm just going to have to like chat shit and just hope for the best, which I don't really want to have to do. Okay, so I'm calling it a day for I think what is day 2 or 3 of doing this. I'm just stressed. The other essay I was doing, I wasn't stressed at it at all. And the next essay I don't think I'm going to be stressed because there's a lot of good literature on it. But I'm stressed. This one stresses me out. So it's been a little while since I last saw you. Essentially what happened was I woke up the day after filming that last clip and realised that the question I was doing was just too difficult. I don't know what it was, but I just couldn't connect up the dots in my mind. I couldn't really get my head around it. And all of the journals that I was reading basically had nothing really in that area, or if it did, I clearly wasn't picking up on it. So I was getting stressed out that I wasn't going to be able to have enough information to write the essay. So I switched. So just imagine that I did all of what you've just seen, but for a completely different essay question, because that's exactly what I did for the last 3 days. So basically I've lost a lot of time, which is fab, because I was faffing around trying to do that essay. But I've changed my question, and essentially the new question, I'll put it here, is about section 1, subsection 1, paragraph D of the Abortion Act. It's the disability ground, and saying that it's too vague and that it is causing doctors, healthcare professionals and potential parents to be uncertain about the legal scope of abortion in that area. Which to me, so much easier. I don't know why I didn't pick that up to begin with, I really don't. But it's so much easier. So yeah, I've basically done all the research on that now. I've done the essay plan and I'm writing up. I'm 3/4 of the way through my introduction. So I have probably like 300 words at the moment, and obviously it's 3,500 words. So I thought I now have controlled the situation and the stress of me trying to like sort my life out, because, you know, I've got another essay to do after this and I only have 5 more days. So I'm a bit like, I'm on the edge. Yeah, that I'd pick up the camera and sort of like share it with you. So yeah, it's basically right now I'm like sitting on the floor. This is what I do when I'm in panic mode. And I am trying to strike inspiration. The one thing I do love about law essays though is that the way I structure them is I go like introduction, then I talk about and lay down the law, and it's kind of descriptive but just generally laying down like what the law says, and then I go into like whatever I'm arguing. So it means that I can write like 600-700 words on those 2 first sections easily, and then you kind of got the flow by then. Well, that's the plan anyway. And I'm constantly sitting in the writing thinking 350 words for the introduction, 350 words for the conclusion, okay, it includes references, that's another like 300 words, that's like 1,000 words gone. Then I've only got 2,500 words left, this, okay, so actually it's only like 4 blocks of this amount of words, like that's how I'm breaking it down to make it seem like it's gonna be doable. As long as I go to bed today, and it's also very late right now, if you couldn't tell by my current attire, and yeah, so if I go to bed today having had like 1,500 words done, I think I'll be laughing, because I can finish the rest tomorrow then. So I've hit 1750 on the word count. It's like the whole separate day to when I last filmed that clip, because this is like draining the life out of me. But I just had to share that I updated my phone. This isn't what I want to share, but I updated my phone. I haven't updated my phone literally in 18 months. So all of the new features that you guys have been having, emojis, widgets, I have not been having that. My phone has been looking like 2019 this whole time. I updated it, and then on Apple Music now, and yes, I'm on Apple Music. If you're Spotify, I don't want the debate. They have produced playlists, which I know is probably something they've done on Spotify for blown out years, where it's like all the music you listen to in certain years, and mine only goes back to 2016 because that's when I got Apple Music. But like, I've been just going through whilst I've been writing my essay, listening to the playlist top 100 songs that I listened to in like 2017, 2018, like basically all the tunes that I was listening to at university, and it's literally sending me, honestly, like listening to all of the songs, and it's putting me right back into the places that I like would have been when I listened to them. But the one in particular that I completely forgot even existed and heard and was like, whoa, that blew my mind good, is this one by James Bay. If anyone remembers this song from like 2017, 2018, oh my god, it literally played, and like 8 bars in, I just was like, oh my god. And I've just been jamming to this for the last 45 minutes as I'm writing my last 2 paragraphs. Like, one of those songs that I'm like, oh my god. Anyway, but on the essay front, yeah, 1750. So I guess that's over half. Well, it's actually bang on halfway, isn't it? But let's be honest, I'm not going to reach the word count. I'm telling you that right now. It's going to be lucky if I hit 2,800 out of 350, but that's by the by. At this point, I just want it done because I only have 3.5 days now to do my next one. And yes, it may be ethics, which to some is deemed easy, but I don't think it's going to be easy. So I'm stressing on the inside, but like when I started writing this today, I thought, you know what, I could cry, but I'm emotionally bankrupt, so I don't really have the energy all the time. The flow of the essay is like intro, all the law on abortion and how the 3 acts that govern abortion law like intersect with each other, and then looking at this particular section 1, subsection 1, paragraph D within abortion law, and then looking at like, okay, why it was drafted in that way, then the guidance that's provided around that section for doctors to use, and like essentially whether that's helpful. It's kind of is, kind of isn't, is a summary. And now I'm writing the shortcomings of the drafting, like effectively under the law, for anyone that cares, doctors can't really be held accountable because it's open to their discretion. So the law is a bit too wide. You can just say, oh, it was exercised in good faith, whether it was or whether it wasn't. There's not really any way to prove that it wasn't. And as a consequence, there's been like 2 cases since 1967 trying to like hold doctors accountable for their decisions within the law, and only one was successfully prosecuted. So that's super rare to only have like 1 case prosecuted in that whole like 60 years, right? So that is kind of what I'm looking at now, and basically saying like why, and then also looking at how the wording of the section in the Abortion Act is incompatible now with the Equality Act, and how that all blooming creates vagueness generally, and how it's bad for doctors is a summary. So we're writing that up now. And also, it's getting light outside. Yes, we're doing all-nighter season. It's actually getting light, look. Depressing. Okay, so it's 7 a.m. and this is the state that I'm currently in. I've got 2,250, so basically in the last 2 hours we've done 500 words, which is depressing. I feel like most of the time that I've spent was rereading and rejigging, because I realised that the thesis that I had at the start of this essay is not what I've written. So I had to like change the structure, because I don't know, I just couldn't think about how to like link everything else through if I didn't start from the top and work down, if that makes any sense. Now I'm gonna have a little break because I've literally sat here for 6 hours, pretty at my desk for 6 hours, like needs must. So I'm gonna have a break. I'm really debating going for a walk, because I do know deep down that if I eat and then go for a walk, 1, I'll want to go for like an hour, and 2, I don't have an hour, and 3, like I know that I'll come back and I'll be like, oh, I'll just have a shower, I'll have lunch, and then like will I be bothered to write the remaining 1,000 words of this essay? Like I don't think so. So I think I'm gonna eat, watch a YouTube video, maybe write another like 500 words, and then at least when I come back, all I've got is a remaining 500 words, and essentially 300 words of that is a conclusion anyway, so it should be plain sailing.
basically a paragraph and a conclusion, which I feel like I will fancy doing. But at the moment, when I say 1,000 words, I think that sounds like a lot of work. So yeah, that's the plan of what I'm going to do now. Okay, so I'm back. We're going to do the final stint. We got 1,000 words, man. And also, other news is, I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to have like a heart attack or a breakdown about my next essay. And I requested an extension. I only requested a couple of days. And she just came back to me and was like, I'm just going to give you until the 9th of August. And I was like, you know what, Joanna, whoever you are, I love you. I'm ready to marry you up because that's amazing. Like, it means I can spend now the rest of my time deadline-wise on this essay. Not that I need to. I've got 3 days left and I'll be done in the next few hours. So it means that I can actually just chill and actually have time to spell check and like appreciate, you know, doing the essay and then just have bare time off. I'm so excited. So I'm in such a better mood now. So I'm actually done, bar the conclusion, and this is almost my favourite bit. I mean, saying it's my favourite bit is probably a bit lame, but like this is just the sense of relief. Basically, the way that I do it is, I used to go back and read through my essay and then like make notes on my like pad or whatever I've got going. Whereas now I basically do read it through, but I just note it into my notes app because I find like that's just so much quicker. And I like to do it on 2 different devices because then I can literally see the whole essay that I've written and then just like summarize it into my notes app. And then I can copy and paste that back into the Word document. It makes it such a quick process with 5 minutes, and I can have like a 350 word conclusion like that because I'm much better at like speaking rather than typing, whereas otherwise you're like bouncing back and forth typing, trying to get the wording right. Yeah, so I just sort of like, I just say it, it's quicker. That's my one hack for essay writing that I've developed, I guess, since my final year. God, I'm fighting the urge to be like, in conclusion, I hate having conclusions like that. But every time I sit and write a conclusion, that's what I want to say, and I know that I can't. Law may be worded vaguely in the statute. There is an abundance of guidance produced by the British Medical Association and the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists for doctors to use as a template and guideline to offer structure to their decision-making process when determining terminations. Okay, so now that's done, I'm just going through my checklist, which is like bibliography, footnotes, check it through Grammarly, read it through, like all that jazz. And this, honestly, correction on Grammarly was sending me for a minute. I was like, am I that sleep deprived that like I'm looking at this and I'm like, doesn't compute? It took me a hot second too long to realise that that's an error on their end and not an error in my brain. Those words are the same, aren't they? Like, aren't they? Yeah, they are. It's time for me to stop doing this. And now, one of the most rewarding parts of any essay, just literally coming out of absolutely everything. Oh yeah. Okay, so that brings us to the end of that whole essay saga. I think it took me like 5 days in the end. Yeah, that's pretty much the process of me doing a 3,500 word law essay for my masters. I know I've kind of took you on the journey of writing an essay before when I did the one that I did in January, but you know, I guess this is a bit of an updated version. I feel like this is less chaotic but also more anxiety induced, so take from that what you will. If you want me to like do more of these type videos, I've still got my dissertation to do for my course, which will be due in towards the end of the year, so I can definitely make more like researchy, write essays with me type videos. And yeah, if you want like any advice or any tips or any more information on how I write my essays, then feel free to comment below and I'll get back to you. Yeah, right now I'm just relieved another one's done. I mean, granted, I do also have my other essay to do, but that's due August, and I won't leave it till August. I'll end up probably doing it like late May sometime, maybe early June. Like, intermittently between the rest of my dissertation work. But yeah, it's an ethics essay, which I like the idea of because it's objectively easier than law, but at the same time I'm like, oh my god, it's so much reading, and yeah, it's the thought of another essay is not thrilling to me. Now I am going to go for a walk, although it's super overcast today, and I'm going to make a coffee and just sort of listen to an audiobook, because that's another thing. I haven't actually read for pleasure probably since January, and it's May. Like, I think I've read 3 books this year, which is embarrassing. So I can't wait to like stick on an audiobook. I'm listening to, at the moment, it's called This Is Why I Don't Talk to White People About Race, or some along that title. I'll put it here. I can't remember off the top of my head. And it's actually pretty good. I'm only like a chapter or so into it, and I literally started it in January. So I'll be very intrigued to pick that one back up. And yeah, pretty much that's the end of my day. So I hope you like this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll see you guys next time.